Hey, how's it going? Today we're going to go over the kind of transition between traditional and digital and why it's kind of hard for people, and a couple of tips to get over that. So if you are interested in digital painting, digital drawing, anything like that, please stick around, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that because that transition was hard for me too. Before that, if you guys like anything related to, I don't know, art advice, you know, how to draw, like the basics of shading, the basics of perspective, any of that stuff, right? Like nose, drawing people, anatomy, all that stuff is on this site, on this YouTube channel. If you like any of that, please do me a favor and subscribe, and then click that little bell icon so you get notifications. Also, I'm going to be responding to every single comment. So comment below and I'm going to reply to every single one of them. So let's kind of go over this really fast. This is actually my old, I think this is Intuos 3. Pretty old. It still works though. It's still in good use. A lot of people use Cintiqs now. Cintiqs are where you can literally draw on the screen. So you're looking at it, you know, kind of live. There's still a little bit of weirdness there. So I get this question a lot, and I've talked a little bit about it in another video, but I wanted to make a video all around it, and that is, how do you kind of transition from drawing completely traditional, right, you to drawing on something like this? In case you don't know, this one plugs into the USB port, and let me show you. Well, voila, USB port. This one plugs into the USB of my laptop. And this kind of is the screen, right? It's very similar to a mouse. You look up, and you look, it's kind of this hand-eye coordination. So as I'm looking at the screen, I am drawing on this, you know, like pretend that's the screen. It's not like a mouse in which you have to drag it around. If you lift this up and you put it down there, it will you know, be the same coordinates on the screen, you know. So there's no worry about dragging it around like a mouse. Ignore this gross pen here. This is the pen that came with it, but I ripped off the rubber on it a long time ago, and I was trying to replace it with a kneaded eraser. So ignore how gross it looks right now. Forgive me. I personally, this hand-eye coordination is the first issue people have. You know, they have to look up and down if they don't have a Cintiq. Just to give you an idea of price, this thing I believe was 80 bucks on Amazon, if not cheaper, used. Intuos 3, and I think it's about as low as you can go in terms of like the number. Don't go Intuos 2. I think those are kind of not great. It's all too old. But this Intuos 3 is pretty good, and it was 80 bucks. You know, it's not that expensive. I don't know what it is new. Honestly, I'll look through it. You don't need a new one though. Just make sure it has the pen, because it's not like any particular. You know, like let's just say you have any stylus from, you know, something that works on your iPhone. That's not going to work on this. This is a proprietary thing. This only works with this. This doesn't work on an iPhone either. If you lose the pen, I believe the pen alone is like 80 bucks. So, and I've done that, by the way. I've lost it and I had to buy this back. And it's almost as much as the whole thing, you know. Yeah, so just kind of be aware of that. The other thing that, oh, okay, I was going to say that's the price point. For an Intuos, not Intuos, for like a Cintiq where you can draw right on the screen, those vary anywhere from like $500 to, it could be $2,000, like how big they are to small. So, but you know, like I said, if you want to save money, do this. Enough about the price point. Biggest problem I see all the time, the hand-eye coordination thing, that I think is easily to get over. It's very easy to get over, because if you ever use a mouse, you have to do almost the exact same thing. So it's not that big of a deal, I think. I don't know how people have issues with that. But I mean, it's obviously through time that you get over it. The other problem that I had personally, the big one that I always hear, is the feeling of it. You know, you're feeling with a regular pencil on paper, you're feeling the texture, right? That kind of grain, that drag you get, like it's real, right? It's a real thing you're doing. And there's a real product at the end of that. It's different with this, where this is smooth, and you're doing this, and it feels like slip and slide in the beginning. And I had that issue for a long time. It just feels like, whoa, whoa. It's almost like your dexterity is off. The best way, I think, to get over... Well, there's a couple of tricks, right? And I did mention it in the other one. And people literally did this. You can take a piece of paper, literally tape it over this thing. Just tape it over. And now, you know, you got like a texture. Now you can feel it. That's like the training wheels of this. You can do that, and I've seen people do that, and people have used it pretty well. You could do that. I mean, obviously you couldn't do that on the other one, the Cintiq. And that's really the biggest tip, I think, for that one. Otherwise, I just got used to it like this. You eventually your dexterity will just kind of snap. The sliding won't bother you as much, and it'll just be normal. But I know that's the #1 thing. People have a hard time when they adapt to that. But like I said, try that. And that's pretty much it. Do that trick. That transition should be simple. I highly recommend going over to digital because stuff is easier. Despite there not being a real product per se, you can always print it out. Obviously, there's no original. But the thing is, for jobs, it's almost like a must to have this because you can just send them by email, right? Like a large digital file by email. And I do really want to push hard into the digital realm on this YouTube channel pretty soon as well. So, because people keep requesting that too. So I'm just kind of prepping everything for the direction that we're going to be going in sooner or later. But yeah, there's so much benefit in this. You can learn colors through this. You can learn to paint, I think, much easier without wasting material through this, I feel. You know, you learn a lot more about kind of how to paint, to the point where you go through this and you go back to regular painting or regular drawing, and you'll be like, wow, like they complement each other because they have their own feels, you know? And you get better at both, honestly, by doing both of them. And you know, you never just go one or the other. I know very few people that do only one or the other. Almost everyone I know does both. You know, if they do all their work on here, everybody's got a sketchbook, right? You know, you do family portraits on something like this, and then you do maybe your concept art on that. Get one of these if you really want to, if you're really interested in digital art or even working in art. You kind of have to do this, and do it early too, because you don't want to be older and be kind of already left behind, right? I mean, this is behind, you know, this contraption, right? So yeah, definitely get on that. I remember toward the beginning too, like you would hear people just kind of being like, oh, digital art is a fad, you know, and now it's been what, 20 years more. Yeah, just get on that as soon as you can, if you plan on working in it. Anyways, that's it. Thank you so much for hearing me out. I appreciate it. If you guys have any recommendations for any cool devices, any cool art things, you know, I'll review it. I'll buy it. I'll straight up buy it if you think of like a cool art device. And maybe I'll like review it or something like that in here. But thank you so much. Have a great day. I do have an ebook on shading. I know that wasn't the subject of this video, but it is how to shading. You can do that with anything. You can do that with this or that. Just the basics of the 101 on shading. I'm going to put that in the link below. It's a free ebook. Check it out, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, guys.